Hey, good morning. This is Dr. Michelle Pedicola of Secrets of Life and Death and Second Chance Secrets. Today, I'm going to be talking about the difference between exhaustion, physical exhaustion, and resistance. What's the difference between the two and what to do about it? I empower motivational speakers, leaders, and change makers to monetize their mission and their message, to transform their lives so that they can even do it better by high-end programs that make a real difference. So what's this whole thing about exhaustion? What is this whole thing about resistance? Well, if you were a motivational speaker, you understand about resistance, that we experience resistance when we are trying to break through to the next level. But there's also real physical exhaustion. I woke up this morning feeling exhausted, and I went to bed early last night. So why did I wake up late, and why did it take me another 15 minutes to get out of bed? I was very curious about this. Was this resistance, or was this real exhaustion? So I took a moment to check in and say, okay, what's going on here? Well, for one thing, a couple of friends of ours met with us last night, sheltering in place. We were outside, we had our masks on, we were drinking tea, but we didn't actually get together until after 4 o'clock. So we were out in the cold because from 4:15 until 5:30, it got colder and colder and colder. Well, guess what? Your body exerts a lot of energy to keep your body in stasis, to keep it warm. And so my body and the body of everybody else out there was working full time. I mean, I consumed a lot of chocolate and I had no trouble falling asleep last night. That's how much that my body was sucking in. Hey, good morning. Thank you for joining. I'm talking about resistance and exhaustion and how to tell the difference and how to approach either one. Because resistance can also show up as exhaustion, and I'm going to be explaining that in a few moments. Right now I'm talking about what kind of things might be causing real exhaustion. Because this morning I woke up exhausted and I was curious. I mean, why was I exhausted? I had Sunday off. Why was I so tired? Hey, Barry. Good morning. Thank you for joining. So exhaustion. I was exhausted partly because I was out in the cold yesterday. I was exhausted, as maybe all of us are right now, because we have just finished this election season, and it was full of angst and anxiety and stress and tension. And so now it's over, and we can lean back and say, oh, it's over, and maybe relax a little bit. Let's see, was there another exhaustion? Also, there's an astrological reason for being tired right now. We're at the tail end of this moon cycle when we're going into the deep dark before the new moon. And in terms of the natural energy cycle of human beings and nature, this is a time to go interior and to hunker down and to take things slower. Just before the new moon, right after the new moon, is the time to take action and move forward. And this is not only just in terms of the moon cycle, but there are a lot of other planets that are also conspiring to prepare us all to leap forward. And this is a little strange because we're actually going into the holiday season when we typically slow down a little bit after that autumn rush. But actually, this is the time when we're really going to start to get into momentum. So this is a time to take it easy, whether it's resistance or it is true exhaustion. So let's talk a little bit about resistance. First of all, it doesn't matter whether it's true exhaustion or resistance. It's physical. It's happening on the body level, and you have to pay attention to your body. You have to not just push through, although there are times I'm going to talk about in a minute when you do actually have to push through, but that whether it's true exhaustion or it's resistance, if you keep pushing, you can actually cause damage to your body. I had a client who was really, really resistant to the work that we were doing. And she broke both of her wrists so that she couldn't take any notes. She couldn't do anything. She was exhausted. She was in a lot of pain. Now that's extreme, but I don't think it's that extreme. I think there are a lot of things that we do on a psychosomatic level when we are feeling resistant, like breaking a leg or getting sick. That getting sick or the body breaking down is the body supporting you in where you are right now. And if you need to pull back, the body's there to help you out. In fact, it's kind of interesting the way in which the universe works so that we can wake up. It's like, no, you're pushing too hard. You need to pull back. And frankly, I'd rather pull back before I start breaking bones, because then I have to take a lot of time off. So whether it's resistance or it's exhaustion, you need to take a moment to check in with yourself. You need to take time to be curious and say, what's going on here right now? Maybe it's both. Maybe it's both exhaustion, because oftentimes when we're pushing too hard, we really literally exhaust ourselves. We take on too many things, and this is a way to avoid going deeper. Now, I only work with people who have a mission or purpose, because this self-growth journey, this hero's journey, is not for everyone. Like, for example, the woman who broke her wrists. I had another client before I moved into high-end programming that always overworked, and that was her excuse, was that she was too exhausted, too tired to do anything. You really, that's a way to avoid doing the emotional work that you need to do to get to the next level. And maybe you're not ready right now to get to the next level. So I work with people who have a passion, a purpose that gives them the motivation to push through, because the hero's journey is a scary journey. You have to face your deepest, darkest fears. The shadow, the enemy, is often yourself, or this trumped up concept in your mind that you carried around with you since maybe childhood about what will happen if you move forward. So the dragons, the goblins, the giants that you have to face are real, even if they're only in your mind. Because guess what? Your body doesn't know the difference between what you're thinking and what's actually real in the physical world. It doesn't make a difference. So if you're feeling exhausted, it's a time to take a pause, to get into the moment. That's what my teacher always talked about, is getting into the moment. Now, it's also the same thing as what the Buddhists call mindfulness, is to take stock and find out what's going on. And that will help you to move forward. And that, of course, is the work that I do. I'm what you call a body listener. I help people, my clients, to listen inside and find out what's the real truth. And it's interesting, all of us have our blind spots. I work with a very, very powerful trainer, and she was feeling very emotional because her mother-in-law was on her deathbed. And she said, I don't even know why I'm feeling emotional, because I'm not really that close. She's always been mean to me. But underneath, because whenever we're facing death, whether of somebody else, we're also being reminded of our own impermanence, or the impermanence of other people that we really care about in our lives. I remember after my parents died, going walking with my husband up into the hills of Briones. And he was very close to the edge of this. It was a slope, but it went down very far. And I noticed that I got nervous when he went close to the edge. And I noticed also that I couldn't go close to the edge because on a physiological level, the body is responding to the loss and so becomes fearful. It is more activated in terms of being protective. So what else? Right, I want to help you to work on this. If you're feeling exhausted or resistant, I want to give you a couple of opportunities that can help you get some insight and breakthroughs. Now, the first one is happening this week on Thursday. I'm doing face readings. I do not do this very often. There is a price. It's very low. It's not really about that. I'm also looking for clients that are ready to move forward. I'm always looking for clients. That's why I do this. But I only work with clients who are ready. So don't worry about don't worry. If this is something that might be of benefit to you, I'm going to be putting the link to where you can sign up for the face reading. And I'm giving 15-minute sessions and 30-minute sessions. And yes, the 30-minute sessions cost more because we actually go a lot deeper. The other opportunity is that I am doing a workshop a week from tomorrow called Have More Influence and Less Conflict in Your Family. This is not just your family, but your work life. And if you're having conflict in your family, it's going to affect your work life. And it may create conflict in your work life. So you need to find a way to have more influence, to have success in getting what you need without creating a whole lot of conflict or irritation. So I'm going to be doing a 2-hour workshop in which we're going to be exploring what it is that you really want, what do you need, what have you been ignoring, which is often the reason why we have conflict. And then how do you go about influencing the other person? I will also put the link. I'm going to be working with, both these events are in coordination with East West Bookstore, which when we're not sheltering in place, puts on fabulous events. We're doing this virtually. The workshop is from 7 to 9 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. But no, don't worry. If you really want this workshop and can't make that because you're on the East Coast and it's going to be 11 o'clock, or by the time it finishes 9 to 11, it's going to be pretty late, then there will be an opportunity to watch the replay. But you have to register. And it would only be for people who haven't come to the actual event. So I'm going to be putting, come back and check out the links if you are interested in either of these. So I want to go back to this whole thing of pushing and exhaustion. We live in a culture that is about pushing. And we are raised to push ourselves. And oftentimes to the damage of our bodies. So flowing through this life is about learning how to balance what you need to get done with what your body needs. You need to take care of this body. It's the only one you're going to get this time around. So you need to take good care. You need to listen. You need to tap in. You need to check in and see how it's doing. Hence the face reading, in which I will really take a look at you, and for sure what's going on inside of you shows up in your face. The other thing that I want to mention is that stress is sometimes okay. And pushing is sometimes necessary. So, for example, if you are in the process of a launch of a book or a program, or you're in the process of moving somewhere, or you're getting ready for a marriage or wedding or whatever it is, you may have to push yourself beyond what is your comfort zone. If you're trying to move to the next level in your emotional journey, you oftentimes have to push a little bit. For example, you're starting a new diet, or you're starting a new exercise program. You may have to push a little bit beyond your comfort zone. And your body is capable of doing that, but you also want to give yourself time to recover. I remember one of the coaches that I had always said that after you do a major push or a major launch, you need to schedule in some downtime in which you can recuperate, because you're putting a lot of energy out. Just like when we were outside last night in the cold, we were putting a lot of energy out. And so it was good that I went to bed at 9:30 and slept for 8 hours and allowed myself to recuperate. That's it for today. Don't forget to take a pause. Don't forget to check in. We've just been through an amazingly emotionally wrenching election season, and this impacts our body. And now is a time, astrologically, to give yourself a little bit of a break. Be well, be brilliant, and bye for now.